Let's see. What's my name? Jim Howard in Fort Worth, Texas. And, well, you can see the date and the time. What's going on here? I've had problems with what? Well, let's see, one first, I guess start at the beginning. The first problem, the cameras, didn't want to work for a little bit. So I've got this one. I had to disconnect one of the cameras. And then I think I rebooted. And so I have the one camera going. It's kind of messy here. Everything, ouch. Everything over there on the bed over there. I had to move off, or else it was cluttering this table. And I'm going to have to, sort that stuff out, put it someplace. It's not going now, but I think I set a little banner for 60 seconds, I think, that when the video starts, it will say Howard's Notebook, I believe. Or maybe it says, Welcome to Howard's Notebook. I had a bunch of stuff going on. Our camera is not working the way they should, although they're okay, you know what I mean? Just a lot of little crap coming up. And I need to get this desk, I have most of everything off this desk over here. But I need to, put something out there other than, the toilet paper over back here, which is not used for toilet paper. It's used to wipe my nose. The container for putting Coke or water in there. I haven't taken my medicine in a week or so, or actually longer. There's always something going on. And even when I put it directly in front of me, I don't get to it a lot of times. And there are medicines I do need to take. Let's see what else is going on. Well, I've got the camera going. I don't have the desktop view, do I? Wonder if I can bring up that now without... Let me go over here. Okay, here's the desktop, full screen. Let me see what we have here. Okay, there's the, well, not exactly a full screen, but the, well, it'll be full screen when I click that, but unless I've messed it up, this and whatever I put over here will fit, so it fills the screen up without me having to move something over, to cover something up so I can show something full screen or whatever. But that will be worked on. I'm exhausted moving stuff around all the time. Now the other day, I think maybe it was a couple of days ago, I think the next day was, I had a doctor's appointment. And we'll see, which doctor was that for? Okay, that was for the heart doctor. I was to go in, and first they would scan my heart. And then that'd take 15 minutes, and then they'd send me over to the doctor, and he would see me. And I had just hooked back up the software, and that was when I was going to be using, the camera again. Well, of course, I've been using it. I've been using it for a long time, but so I had just, what was the new thing? I guess it was nothing new, but, oh, I know, yeah, okay. The big news was, I'd been working with the software, and then all of a sudden, the software stopped working. So I was trying to fix that, and I guess the software was working. The camera app wasn't working. So I was going to the heart doctor, and I have an appointment like once a year, but I missed the appointment of going to the office. It was back a little bit before that, a month or less or something. And why did I miss the appointment? I don't remember now. So I made a new appointment, and that coincided with, what was I doing software side, or what was the deal? So I reinstalled. I hadn't had it on in a long time because I'd never go anyplace. Well, I have it, whenever I do go someplace, I have it with me in case I collapse. Which I have done, fallen down on within the last month, on hands and knees, and I had got an abrasion on each hand and a slight little cut up in there, and then I got my knees scraped up really good, and and also my elbows, and then I didn't show any of this, but I was actually making a video right after I fell. And as I was talking, I guess I did something like this. Because when I went down, my knees both got scratched up, and one of them, right in the new place, it's, the surface is, okay now, but it's I think it may be fading out, but the other side faded out. The other places, all, I don't see any, lasting sign of them. So, okay, now I need this. I don't know if it's my hay fever. I had hay fever in Missouri there after riding a bicycle a lot. Well, after working outside in security, being out in the parking lot sometimes for hours. sometimes, for the entire shift or whatever, plowing snow or whatever. It would depend on where I worked, which hospital. Um, so maybe I should start using a script. I've never done it. The closest thing to a script you'll find with me is when I have the browser uh, going instead of just my video of me. Um, so, let's see. So I had my doctor's appointment, and okay, yeah. So I woke up. Right around this time, I was getting notices that my someone had accessed my computer, someone had accessed a bank account, things like that going on, and I was dealing with those. And then I went to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, so I could be ready to go at 8, I think it was in the morning, something like that. And so then I woke up about, let's see, 4 a.m. I had a couple of notices, weird notices. And so I got up to go to the bathroom and then was going right back to bed, but I thought I'll check, and then bang. So then I started working on that and, fixing that. And then consequently I was really, tired. And then when I woke up, I had a couple hours to, get ready, and we don't have a car. So I sometimes I don't get out very often, unless it's walking to the dollar store or across for the donut shop or something like that. But I had that to take, I had it wasn't scheduled, so I was calling in for it to order Uber. And I got a notice that my bank account, I forget what it was, what you'd call it, hacked, and that no videos were going to be shown. So I started working on that. See, my appointment was 1 p.m. I think. It was either 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. But I started working on, fixing things. And the thing I needed to fix was that the video wasn't really working. And so I'm trying to fix that. And then I thought, which would normally be it, because I put cameras up, before easily. And it was taking an hour, 2 hours, something like that. And things were popping up that shouldn't. And so by the time I knew, I was trying to fix it because, and I couldn't get it fixed. And I knew it was going to take, an hour or two of messing with it before it would be, working. Because it was stubborn that morning for some reason, or afternoon. So then I couldn't get the thing fixed in time to order a, Uber. I hadn't ordered an Uber or Lyft in months, I guess. And so I called the doctor's office, and I've gotten the same guy twice when this problem popped up. Really nice guy. He does their scheduling or something, I don't know, real nice. It didn't make me feel guilty or anything. Anyway, I called and said I'm having some transportation problems, and I'm not going to be able to make it. And he said, okay, Jim, do you want to go ahead and schedule the appointment, or do you just want to call back later? And I said, no, I'll schedule it now. So I set it up for, let's see, it was, today's the 25th, and it was, well, the 24th. That was when the appointment was. So I set that up and, fixed. Well, I didn't get things fixed till just now, but I had so many other, I was getting notices that my email thing had been hacked, that just these things were going on. And then the bank, I thought that they had, removed my video. And so I finally went down, and the lady at the office said, no, your stuff is still there, but it's, set up to, they're questioning it or whatever. And then there was other messages popping up from not the bank, but from other places saying that that the bank was the account was closed down. And anyway, when I finally went to the bank, which is half a block from here, a real nice lady there, she said, no, she says, it's and I said, no, it's closed down. She says, no. And then she said, since it was suspicious and there were suspicious entries, what they did is they didn't take it down, but the system was set up where when you tried to log in like you normally would, it was going to ask you some questions and stuff like that. And if there was like a half dozen different ways you could try to get, activate it. And they didn't like any of my ways. So she got the thing activated for me. So I'm hoping it's going to work okay. But also what was happening, the bank, because of the attacks, went ahead and turned on some defensive things. And so I thought the bank account was closed with my money in it. And that's the money that is going to go pay the ex-wife pays part of, and I pay the other part of the rent, and then I pay for she kicks in sometimes she kicks in every month some for food. She's on food stamps. And so, but the camera part of the thing was like not producing the way it should. So I thought for a day or two, well, they shut the thing down, and I can't change anything, whatever. Finally went down to the post office, or no, not the post office, the grocery store, the bank. And they said, no, it's still going. And so I really tired. So I went back home half a block from the place. And it still wasn't on. So then I went back down to the bank. And you had to log in a certain way. It was still online. I didn't know it was on, the thing was still running. But So finally she showed me that I could, that I could get in. So it's been, now that the doctor that I see once a year for the heart, although I have the device, let's see, you can't see that, okay, that transmits it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the signal to the, medical heart. It's not, I'm sure, in their built, it's a nationwide thing probably. And so the data is being collected, but then their machine's someplace, and then they notify the doctor's office right away. I finally got, I've still got things. Well, I had banks. That was it, yeah, I had banks. Well, I only have one bank account, I think, yeah. But I have some other accounts, and I was getting notices that that I couldn't access. They kept asking for my username and password, and then it would come back, no system or whatever. When I went down to the bank, she even logged in. I gave her the info. She logged in, and it popped up that no access, or I forget what it said. But so I found out that, because I was having PayPal, I think it was, and Microsoft or whatever. I was getting, when I tried to log into my videos and doing what I'm doing or whatever, it would say, no account or whatever. And but you just had to log in a certain way. And I guess the people who were being blocked, the system, showed that they were possibly a hacker. But if you logged in a certain way, because when I did, here's how you log into it. And so that's the way I logged into it. And so I'm back, but God, I do not, and actually I was thinking about this, this just isn't worth, I've been doing this since 1982, working up, getting better. I think getting better at what I do, and learning a lot more, and all those type of things. But I just thought, like I said, I was getting notices from banks saying the account is closed, and it wasn't. It was just how you logged into it. So, but I was seriously thinking, this is it, long run since 1982 to today, but I hate that printer. I hate all printers. But in fact, I keep it disconnected most of the time, just don't even want to. But it really would have helped if I had the printer working when this other thing popped up. Then I could have printed out some information right away. When I went to the bank to straighten that thing out, of course, I had my cell phone with me. I take it everywhere I go. Even if I just take some trash out to the trash container, the cell phone always goes with me, because I collapsed down when I had to have a pacemaker put in. I was down at the Walgreens at 9 or 10 p.m. and the only one in the store. And well, I've told this before. I was walking down there. We don't have a car, and I purchased a few. When I was down walking, there were just 1, 2, let's say 3 blocks. I think it's less than 3 blocks. But as I was crossing the parking lot, walking, of course, I had this uh, rush through my body. Man, I thought. My son had bought me some. He bought for himself, my grown son, a big thing for vitamins and stuff, and he bought one for me too. And so I started taking them, But so I thought that this was, and I don't think it was. Now I started walking across the parking lot to go in, and I had this feeling that, wow. And I thought, I feel like Superman. I feel like I could jump over, buildings, jump high, that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, what could that be? I've never had a feeling like that before. And I thought it must be, the vitamins. And I thought, wow, I should have been taking vitamins before. Went inside and got a few items and was heading for the checkout. And I was feeling strange. And then all of a sudden, I was on the floor. All of a sudden I came out of it. And I said, what happened? And I was right close to the checkout, lane. And the lady said, you fainted. And I said, I've never fainted in my life. And she said, well, we called 911. And I said, well, I'll have my cousin walk over. He lived in the apartment across from us with his mother, with my daughter. And I said, you can, call the police or the, EMS and tell them that, it's not needed. And about that time, the firemen came in. And they happened to, their station house is, I don't know, 500 feet from here or something, something right outside our exit gate or something here at the apartment complex. They came in and I said, I'm okay. I'm going to have my grandson walk over here and walk with me. And they said, well, I said, you can cancel the, because it was a fire department. I said, you can cancel the EMS. And they said, well, you let us hook you up for a little. I said, sure, So they hooked me up. And then I forget, the guy didn't say shit, but the one paramedic, looked at the other paramedic and they said something like, wow, or something. And I said, what's wrong? And I forget what that's in my title. I can't remember the video. It was something about the number or something. And, but first, then they said, when they said, wow, and then they said there's a number, and I can't remember what the number was now. By the way, I was trained as an as a EMT, and not a paramedic, but an EMT. And I passed the test, graduated. But they said a number, I forget what the number was. And he said, look at this. And I looked at it. And, no, he said something about, he said a number, whatever it was, 59 or 42 or whatever it was. It was a low number. And I wasn't thinking very well because I asked, I can't remember what I asked, if I asked if it was my blood pressure or what. And he said, no, that's your heart rate. And then I said, I need to go to the hospital right now, don't I? And he says, yes. And then they got me. And I've always had nurses that I've worked with and everything would say, Jim, you have great veins. If we have to ever start an IV on you, it'll be really easy and all that kind of stuff. And so they loaded me in the ambulance. And then they kept taking the blood pressure. And both of them were trying to stick me, and they couldn't stick me, And then also, so I was, hospital security officer for 30 years. I've seen a lot, done a lot. I was trained in being an EMT. Then, of course, I mean, going back further, I mean, when I was in high school, maybe some grade school, I was, trained in weather observing, for the radiological monitor, and when the Russians or when the communists attacked us, I'd be with my Geiger counter, and then when I guess the amount of time had gone by, then they'd push me out. They would push me out, I'm sure. I'd be saying, I don't want to go outside. And then I would have come back and said, okay, well, too much radiation now. We can't go out. Or I could go back and say, okay, there's some areas you need to avoid, but so both the paramedics were working on me, and so the one paramedic said, okay, Mr. Howard, now don't be concerned, but we want to get you to the hospital as quick as we can, so we're going to run with lights and siren, but don't be concerned. I said, that's okay. And then, the one paramedic, got behind the wheel, and so I left the paramedic with me, And then the paramedic that was with me said to the, you shouldn't say driver, because I worked at a hospital where a nurse made a mistake. The ER nurse made a mistake, and what she wanted was directions for the family, because the family was, the patient had come in, and then the patient was going to be transferred by helicopter from that hospital down to the other hospital. And so the family was like, how do we get to the research medical center? And okay, I think I'm getting sidetracked on. Oh, okay. So there was, both of them were paramedics. The driver and then the other one. I don't know if they switched off, on. But so the guy who had just told me, the paramedic, that I was going to tell you. Yeah. Okay. Well. I'll try to finish that and remember the other little thing that's in my brain. So he said, he had told me, that lights and siren. And he said, Mr. Howard, he said, your heart rate is back to normal. And so we won't do it, lights and siren, or won't do it lights and siren. And I said, okay. Now, the other thing was, once I was working in the same hospital, well, no, it would have been, I forget. They said that everything had, was normal appearing, heart rate and that type of stuff, so. We get down there, and the paramedics, take me into the emergency room, and the doctor comes over, and the paramedics are making a report to him and telling him everything. Then he's talking to me, and he said, Mr. Howard, right now your heart rate, everything's okay. But he said, you had such and such an arrhythmia, and he said, it's kind of unusual to actually catch it, and it was the fireman actually, had caught it, and so that otherwise what would have happened is I would have gone up to the floor, been admitted to the floor, which I was anyway. I'd be admitted to the floor, and then they would have done all kinds of tests and done what was necessary, and but the doctor said, here it is right here. And he said, normally we'd check you and you'd be sent home with a monitor on, and we'd go by that. But he says, we've already got it here. So he says, I think what's going to happen is, we're going to do the uh, uh, can't remember now the name of that thing. Oh, okay. Uh, we would do and he said, I'm sure what we're going to find is, obstructions and maybe valve problems, and that kind of stuff. Um, and he said, so then later when I saw him, they kept me, of course. And later the doctor, when I went in, for the procedure, angioplasty. Yeah, was that it, or was that? Anyway, the doctor says, Mr. Howard, they waited. No, they didn't wait until I was, sedated. They wanted me to sign it when I was alert. Now, what I want you to do is, we're going to, look through your, go through your thigh with the camera up inside you and up, and look at all the, the arteries and the heart and all that kind of stuff with the camera. And then we may do the angioplasty, depending on what we find. But he thought for sure that that's what it was going to, So, they put me out and sedated me or whatever. And I had signed the papers that if they found, the blockage or whatever, instead of sending me to the room or telling me to come back or whatever, they would do it then. And so I woke up and the doctor was there, and the doctor said, Mr. Howard, your arteries are, you're fine. There's no, no blockage. And I thought to myself, the junk food that I eat and the way I eat, there ought to be a lot of, plaque and stuff in there. But so I didn't have to have it, and I haven't had it done yet. I've had pacemakers now, and I think, let's see, I think this is just the second pacemaker. It lasted about 10 years, so I'm not sure if you can hear the helicopter going over or not. If you live near an air base or someplace, or if you were in the military or something like that, when you hear about Israel and Palestine area and whatever, all these things you hear about, and when there's attacks going on and we see video of, kids with their parents hugging their kids and maybe crying or something. The aircraft that, we're near a reserve air base, and so the aircraft, it's like 5 miles, line of sight or something from here. Used to be a SAC base, and aircraft were flying out of there all the time with nuclear weapons, and staying as close to the USS, right, so they were ready if, we weren't going to wait until if they headed for the United States or any place else because of, so, but what I think about sometimes is when these aircraft are close by, flying in, flying out, it's pretty loud and pretty traumatic that you hear. And just think about the kids, that are hearing that. And I guess you could see it if you wanted to, Oh, help. Just looking to see if my son his door's closed. So I could make this without a lot of the noise that he makes in the background. In the beginning, he didn't. It was pretty, and he even, another helicopter. He even, well, anyway, now he's just noisy sometimes. I mean, really noisy. So I have to maybe stop the video and then come back to it later, or just give up on the thing. Oh, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I got a lot of stuff to do, and got to I never flew on a helicopter. One time I was working at the hospital. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning as a security officer, and Eagle, not Life Flight, but the Eagle there at the hospital had gone out with the doctor, and then he returned, with the two paramedics and him on board, and the patient returned with the patient to the hospital. And then at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the supervisor called on the radio to me. Jim, I need you to, go out with the helicopter and pick up, the doctor's car. He left his car at the scene. And I really didn't care. What I cared about was right away, two other security officers called the supervisor, on the radio. Call me at extension such and such, I knew right away what it was. And sure enough, the supervisor called on the radio and said, okay, I forget who it was, okay, you'll be going, and then he called me, and Jim, you'll be staying, here. And that was okay with me. But I've never flown on a helicopter. But I wouldn't, You really want to, if they'd called you, then you should think, well, that's okay, I get to ride on a helicopter or whatever, but, like to jump in front of somebody else, to call the supervisor and say, oh, I want to go, Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I got a lot of work to do here. Hopefully I'll be better organized tomorrow. I think that's a song or something. Thanks very much for watching.